Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV. Welcome to the match review of our 2-1 loss against Wolves. Now, if you guys saw my match preview last night, you would have definitely felt that I felt pretty cautious about this game. And the reason why I felt this way was because I know that Wolves like to target the wide areas. I know they're very good playing down the wide areas. And I felt that we were definitely going to have some issues against them. And of course, that's how we effectively did lose the game. But even though we're all upset as fans, and it's hard to hear this right now, but we still need to keep some sense of perspective. Realistically, we're not going to win every single game. And as I've been saying in previous videos, and quite a few now, I've been saying that the reason why we're struggling right now is because we're coming up against a new tactic we weren't coming up against at the start of the season. Now teams are really trying to stop our regista. They're really trying to close the passing lanes. They're trying to press us high as well. And, obviously attack down the wide areas left and behind our fullbacks. And because of this, naturally, the team is struggling in a way to cope against this. Basically, all it means is we need a bit more time to cope against these types of tactics. But I don't think it's time for people to start getting so reactionary and getting so negative. Now, I'm going to sound like I'm contradicting myself a tiny bit because I do have a lot of negatives to say. But with the points I'm making, I'm basically trying to stress the areas which we need to improve on to really try and master this entire system. I'm going to be talking about areas we need to improve in for next season as well. And of course, if you guys keep all this perspective together, hopefully you're not going to feel as deflated as you probably do right now. But you guys, if you like what I do, smash that like button. Help me get more than 500 likes for today's video. And press the bell notification button as well to stay tuned to all things Blue Lions TV. Now, before I start talking about the game, obviously, I like to talk about the lineup and the tactics as well. So I'm going to get those out the way quickly, starting with the lineup. And it was interesting to see that Sarri finally gave the first start to Ruben. Christensen also made a surprise appearance, as well as Cesc Fabregas. Now, I'm going to be talking about Cesc and Christensen later on in this video, and expect to hear me talk about them more in tomorrow's 5 talking points video. But moving straight into the tactical side of this game, and as I was saying yesterday, the game kind of went how I expected it to from a tactical point of view. Now, with Wolves using their 3-4-3, of course, off the ball, they reverted back to a 4-5-1. And obviously with Nuno, and I know I kept saying Suso yesterday, I don't know why, but Nuno used Gibbs and Jota up front with, their Mexican striker, who I just forgot on the top of my head. And the reason why they did that was because when these guys were going to drag back, they were going to put in a very big defensive shift to really help try and keep the numbers in midfield. And to be honest, I thought Gibbs was excellent today. We've got to realise the guy just turned 18 years old. And on a side note, it really shows you just how much versatility we're going to have in the England team in the future, because Gibbs was very exceptional today. Obviously, with Wolves reverting back to a 5-4-1, their plan was to really try and keep their shape, be very compact centrally, because as teams always do, when you do that, you try and force your opposition team to pass the ball out wide. But with Wolves having, obviously, wing-backs and having the wingers dropping deep as well, by forcing us to play the ball out wide, what ended up happening was that it gave Wolves a numerical advantage in winning back possession out wide. For example, let's say Alonso's on the ball. You'll see the Wolves fullback pressing very high up. Their winger will drop deep. And a midfield player will move into support as well. And they were constantly able to create these 3v2s against us. And this was how they were able to constantly create counter-attacking chances against us. And that's what really causes us issues, because the thing is, if we constantly lose possession of the ball, very easy possession as well, what happens is we are obviously going to be at a numerical disadvantage at the back. And this is how teams are able to create counter-attacking chances against us. And we're just not able to cope with this just yet. Let's be serious, we all know the reason for this. It's down to the fullbacks, especially with Marcos Alonso. Now, I'm going to be talking about this guy quite a lot in today's review. But again, it's a case of a team using a mid-block tactic against us to try and close the passing lanes, force us wide and create counter-attacks from our mistakes. Now, what we were trying to do to stop Wolves from playing out wide, because that's Wolves' main strength, was, very intelligent from us. And I was talking about this in yesterday's game. Now, throughout this game, we constantly saw guys like Willian and Hazard moving into the half spaces, moving in the middle. And by doing this, what they were hoping to do was, by having these guys occupying these spaces, naturally that's going to force the Wolves players to really pay attention to them, meaning that they're going to congest themselves in the middle, hopefully freeing up space in those wide areas. And in particular, I felt that Hazard, even though he wasn't great today, and let's be serious, he's not fully fit just yet, I felt that he was quite selfless in this game, especially with his off-the-ball movement. He constantly kept trying to, take away Wolves players with his runs and behinds. And by doing this, it freed up the space down that left-hand side for Ruben to do his thing. And that was how Ruben was able to get that opportunity to get that strike on goal. And obviously, Ruben looked very good today. And I just thought that Ruben and Hazard really complemented each other very well at times. And I definitely think that if these guys play more together, they're definitely going to get a better understanding. And I really feel that we can cause a lot of teams problems down that left-hand side. And during the first half, obviously, by Ruben having the space down the left-hand side because Hazard was moving in field, this meant that Alonso didn't necessarily have to force himself up the pitch too much, because we know that with Marcos Alonso, the guy's very susceptible to losing possession of the ball. He's got no recovery pace or acceleration at all. That's why he's called Marcos Alonso. And obviously, that was stopping the tide from, obviously, Wolves' counter-attacks down that right-hand side. Now, really, with Ruben's goal, it did come against the run of play, because throughout this entire game, we really didn't create any clear-cut chances on goal. And when we did, our finishing was poor, or we constantly kept picking the wrong passing decision every single time. And this is where I feel that Morata and Willian just don't really complement each other. Now, with Willian, his natural instincts are to attack and shoot on goal. There were a few times on 2 occasions where Willian should have played the square pass, where obviously we would have had a bigger opportunity to possibly get a goal from that. But of course, with his instincts, he's going to shoot on goal. He can be a bit too one-dimensional, and of course, because he hasn't scored for a while, it's really adding to this one-dimensional side to Willian right now. And what I personally think Sarri needs to do is, he needs to actually put Willian on the bench, let him come on as a substitute. We saw how Morata was able to get back to some decent type of form when he was coming on as a substitute. But I think currently Willian is in this rut where he wants to try and affect the game. He wants to get a goal, but in a way he's being way too selfish, and he's really messing up a lot of easy passes that Willian is able to find. But to be honest, now I'm going to sound a bit harsh, but I think the most decisive moment in this game came near the end of the first half. Now, it's going to look very small to you guys, but this was when we had that free kick opportunity where Rudiger fouled the Wolves player, because if Rudiger didn't make that foul, we saw that Alonso was free by the far post on the left, and there was a massive chance that we could have possibly got a goal from that situation. Now, this moment really stood out for me because something kept telling me I feel like that could cost us, because I think we're the type of team that needs to get 2 goals to be really safe about our chances in a game. After the first half, Wolves really stepped up. They pressed higher up the pitch. They really put a lot of pressure on Cesc Fabregas, and this is where I need to talk about Cesc now. Yes, Cesc, of course, playing deeper is naturally going to be able to make a lot of those great quarterback passes he can make, but Cesc is not a regista. And I really feel that if anyone was wondering why Jorginho needs to play every single game, this is why, because it's not just about playing forward passes, it's about the tempo and controlling the tempo of the game. Now with Cesc, I personally feel that in this role, he keeps playing the Cesc way and not the Sarri way. How many times was Cesc advancing with the ball in the opposition half? When do you ever see Jorginho there? And because Cesc kept doing that, that meant guys like Kante or Ruben had to sit deeper to accommodate him. And he's not supposed to be doing that. There's a reason why Jorginho is one of the best at what he does, because controlling the tempo of a game is just as important as playing passes, because keeping the tempo means that you keep better use of possession, and when you keep more of the ball, it means that you reduce the counter-attacking possibilities for the opponent team. And there are so many times Cesc kept playing, ridiculously ambitious passes. Yes, I know he can play them, but he kept spamming them and spamming them and spamming them like this was FIFA. And it was ridiculous, because it was like, how is someone like Morata or Pedro going to win an aerial ball? That's not going to happen. And we kept giving away cheap turnovers of possession constantly throughout this game today. And that was how Wolves were constantly able to capitalise in that second half. And of course, it was like a similar moment to the Arsenal game where, the Arsenal game, they kept creating chances down the wide areas. Wolves did that. Of course, they targeted Alonso in particular. In particular, Alonso and Aspi. I don't think these guys are suited just yet to this type of football. I've kept saying that constantly. Alonso was definitely exposed today. His form has been really poor recently. Very poor. If you're sorry, you have to consider either using Zappacosta or Emerson down that left-hand side. I think that Alonso needs a bit of time away because he's been poor. So many awful moments where he's losing easy possession of the ball. His crossing, disastrous. The crossing from both the fullbacks, from Aspie as well, awful. One-dimensional, no imagination in them. Terrible service. They're either too short hitting the first man from Aspie's case, or if it's Alonso, it's constantly overhitting everyone. It's not good enough. These guys keep constantly losing possession of the ball. I'm sure if you looked at the stats, you'd see that these two in particular give away the most turnovers in possession throughout a game. And it was just so sloppy. Now, of course, with Christensen playing over Luiz, if anything, you guys, this is why Luiz is liked so much by Sarri. Look at how the guy uses the ball. As I keep saying all the time now, when it comes to defending, we defend from the front. When it comes to building up and attacking, it comes from the back. It's important that you have that core of Rudiger, Luiz and Jorginho because they're the best at resisting a press, controlling the game and finding players and openings. Now, with Christensen, it's not his game. Christensen, as I've always said, is a defender like a De Ligt from Ajax. They like to carry the ball into midfield. He's not really that playmaker type of centre-back. He's not going to spray passes from 70 yards. That's not his game. But at the same time, you definitely see what we miss out on because, in a way, Luiz, I've really noticed now, helps out Alonso a lot. Especially when it comes to resisting the press and playing out from the back because Alonso knows that, yes, I'm really bad at keeping the ball. All I need to do is pass to Luiz because I know that if I pass to him 99 times out of 100, he's not going to lose the ball. And when you've got Cesc playing in this role in tandem, you know, when we're playing out from the back with Christensen, Cesc and Alonso, you can see just how much weaker we were. As I keep saying, Cesc has great moments, but if he wants to play consistently in this team, he needs to start following the tactical instructions, stop playing your game all the time because it affects the balance in our midfield. I can't repeat this no more. It's very important that we play out from the back. That's our number one way of playing. Once that is broken down or we lose possession in our own half, we're screwed. We're going to concede chances, and that's exactly how Wolves capitalised on that. Honestly, this wasn't a great game. We really fell apart in the second half. I think Sarri really noticed a lot of things about his squad maybe he hadn't really noticed as much. We've got City coming up on Saturday. My God, I mean, we're definitely not ready for that. As I've been saying, I just want to see a good performance against Man City, not even getting the win. There's a process still happening. Let's not forget that. Tonight wasn't great. It wasn't good. But we need to be patient, you guys. I'm telling you, sometime next season, when we're playing fantastic football, signing the right players that we needed, we're going to forget about these times. So be patient, think to the future. And remember, it's going to be natural that we do lose games like this. But anyway, you guys, thank you for watching. I'm the EFC. This is Blue Lions TV. Signing out.